Hello, and welcome to the HBM Test and Measurement FAQ video series. I'm Krista Tweed, an HBM Applications Engineer with HBM, and in this video, I'm going to provide an overview of the review sweep and review recording displays in Perception. Perception supports two types of displays for reviewing data: review sweep and review recording. Review sweep is the default display type when Perception is running in single sweep or multi-sweep acquisition mode. The review recording display is the default display type whenever there is continuous data being recorded. That means when Perception is acquiring data in continuous or dual acquisition mode. A review sweep is used to display sweeps data. For display purposes only, the trigger time in the display is set to t=0. Pre-trigger data is displayed as negative time, and post-trigger time is positive. If you hold your mouse over the trigger icon at the top of the display, a pop-up shows you the trigger number, the time at which the trigger occurred, relative to the start of recording time, and the type of trigger. Possibilities for trigger type are channel trigger, manual trigger, or external trigger. The pink arrows at the bottom of the display allow you to step to the next sweep. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-T to move the red cursor, also described as the active cursor, to the next trigger. Shift-Ctrl-T moves the active cursor to the previous trigger. The blue arrows allow you to jump to the first sweep or last sweep in a multi-sweep recording. The sweep number is displayed in the lower left-hand corner of every review sweep display. The review sweep display offers several advantages when viewing sweeps data. Often, there are large periods of time between triggered sweeps in a multi-sweeps recording. Using a review sweep display makes it easy to move from one trigger to the next. In addition, a review sweep display makes it easy to overlay sweeps from different recordings. Since the trigger time is artificially set to time t=0, triggered events from different recordings are easily overlaid. An example is shown here, with data from two different recordings. You can see in the current review sweep display, the sweeps are nicely overlaid. To change the display to a review recording display, I will right-click in the upper left-hand corner of the display and select Recording. Now you can see the trigger occurred at two different times for the two test runs, at 5.38 seconds for the yellow data and 5.47 seconds for the green data. By changing back to a review sweep display and selecting the star key to auto-scale the time axis, the sweeps are again overlaid. A recording display has a standard time axis. The start of recording is time t=0, and time increases to the end of the recording. If the recording is a dual mode recording, like the one in this example, the data will have sections of triggered sweeps with continuous data in between. More information is available on dual mode recording in the FAQ video on Perception acquisition modes. Since the recording display has a standard time axis, you can adjust the time format used in the display. Hold your mouse over the time axis of the display and right-click to open the context menu shown here. By selecting Time Format, you see several options. Relative to start is the default selection, but you can also display absolute time in either local time or UTC time. Local time uses the clock settings of the PC running Perception. UTC time converts local time to Coordinated Universal Time. Another important note: if you use Perception's formula database to find points of interest in your data or perform post-process analysis, the formulas always use the recording timescale, not the timescale shown in a review sweep display. As long as we are discussing Perception displays, I want to show you a few ways of zooming in and replaying data. If you place the active cursor at a point of interest, the plus icon at the bottom of the display zooms in around the active cursor. Selecting the icon multiple times zooms in farther. Selecting the minus icon zooms out around the active cursor. Clicking and dragging the bar between the icons allows you to scroll through the data. You can also zoom in by drawing a box around an area of interest. To do this, click your left mouse button and hold and drag the mouse at a 45-degree angle to create a box. The first time, a zoom window is created. To create a second zoom window, hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and draw another zoom box. You can also zoom farther by creating additional zoom boxes within the zoom window. A right click allows you to zoom back to the previous screen, or you can close the zoom window completely by selecting Unzoom. After the zoom box is drawn, you can use the mouse to adjust the size and position of the zoom window. In the case of the Alt zoom window, the Alt key needs to be pressed on the keyboard to do this. The playback icons below the display can be used to play back the recording. Pressing the right arrow multiple times increases the playback speed. Pressing the left arrow reduces the playback speed and eventually reverses the direction. Selecting the blue arrows takes you to the beginning of the recording or the end of the recording. If your mouse has a wheel, you can turn it to scroll the data left and right. You can also click and hold the left mouse button and drag the mouse right or left in the display to scroll the data. Finally, I want to mention that the perception display can be customized. To access the Display Setup dialog, select the Display Setup icon from the toolbar, which is shown here, or right-click in the middle of the display and select Display Setup from the context menu that opens. The first tab, Display Setup, allows you to enter a name for the display, set the icon size, and add, delete, and name pages. The second tab, Annotation and Grid, allows you to control what is displayed in both the X and Y annotation areas. The third tab, Pane Setup, allows you to add and remove panes from each page of the display. You can also select which traces are displayed in each pane. The fourth tab, Traces Setup, allows you to control properties of the individual traces in the display, such as the color and the Y-scale range. In summary, we discussed the features of both the Review Sweep and Review Recording displays. The Review Sweep display is designed to easily view sweeps data. The Recording display is used for continuous or dual mode recordings. We also discussed reviewing data by zooming in and out and playing back the recording. And we reviewed customizing all aspects of the perception display. Thanks for watching. If you have questions on perception or any other HBM product, please feel free to contact technical support via phone, email, or the HBM website.